Hi, this is Kathy Weymouth from Tune the Temple, and this is video 3 in a series of setting boundaries with other people. If you haven't done so, please go back and watch video 1 and video 2 because that sets it up for video 3, okay? Some people are finding relationships to be so difficult and they don't realize how important it is to set boundaries to bring more comfort and more peace into their lives. So maybe this fits you. Maybe you have relationship difficulties and you don't know how to set boundaries or you're not consistent with it. But I just want to encourage you that if you step out, which it does require some courage, step out in courage, do it afraid. If you start to set boundaries in a graceful, loving way, I think that you're going to find that you will have more order and peace in your life. And this might take some time, but I think it's really worth it. Like, I just can recall a boundary that I set that just changed the atmosphere of my home. And it was so great when I finally stepped up and set the boundary. Okay, so I hope that works for you too. And so let me just review real quick. In video 1, I talked about some scenarios where you might see someone else's behavior is causing you pain or discomfort. And you're allowing this behavior just to continue because you haven't been setting boundaries. Okay, so I really think they could help. In video 2, I talked about, how do you know what your boundary is and how do you communicate your boundary? And I do want to give credit to a woman on a Facebook group. And this is the name of the group, Boundaried / a support group for women. And there was a woman who stated what I shared last week, and I just really want to give her credit. But I'm not going to give you her name. I'll just say thank you to the person whose initials are RBD for what I said in video 2. And I'm just going to review that real quick. When you are stating your boundary, you say, I feel blank when you blank. And if you continue to do this, I will. Or if you do it again, I will. And that's your 3-part boundary setting statement. Okay, thank you to RBD so much for that, making it just a really easy way to share that. I loved it. That's why I used it. Okay, now, I want to ask you in video 3, do you think you can change the other person's behavior? And is this about what your goal is changing their behavior? So let's just talk about that for a second. First of all, you are not responsible for the response of the other person. You have to really get that. You are not responsible for their response, for their comfort, their happiness, for their emotional state. You're responsible for taking care of yourself. If you're not going to take care of yourself, who's going to? Okay, so this is not about really focusing a lot on the other person, but I do want to show you some benefits. Okay, and I want to remind you again what you are responsible for. You're responsible for 3 C's, okay? Communicating your boundary, communicating your consequence, and then one I haven't mentioned so far, so this is new in video 3, being consistent with what you say you're going to do. So communicate, set a consequence and share it, and then be consistent with your consequence that you set. All right, got that? 3 C's, communicate, consequence, and consistency. Okay, now I want to give you the exact yelling example I said last time. If you, I feel disrespected when you yell at me. If you do this again, I will leave the room. Okay, the worst thing you could do is share that with somebody and not actually leave the room the next time they yell at you, okay? You have to be consistent with what you said you're going to do. Now, what does that provide? Does that provide change in the other person, or is that about changing what your situation is? Really is about changing your experience. You are going to own your experience, and I think that you'll find more peace. Now, yes, ideally this person is going to learn after a while that you're not going to hang out for yelling. You're just not going to be there. You're not going to go into that zone with them. And so maybe it will cause them to change over time. But the real thing that you're wanting to do is create more peace and invite more order into your life. Okay. So I hope this helps you. And this is Kathy Weymouth from Tune the Temple. And I really hope that setting boundaries in difficult relationships can improve your life. Okay. Kathy Weymouth, tunethetemple.com.